What's up, everyone? Happy Thursday. Gonna log on with my friend, my good buddy Garrison Comstock. He's an agent down in the South Bay in a second, so he'll log on in a second. Let me just text him. I just got on. What's up, Jag Preets? How are you? Kyle, what's up? Kyle, do you coach with Jeff Mays? I think I've seen your name before. What's up? I don't know how to pronounce that. What's up? Real Estate Woods, what's going on? All right, Garrison's coming on right now. What's up, Ellen? All right, here we go. I'm going to go on live with Garrison Comstock. Here we go. Oh, we got a lot of people coming on. What's up? What's up?
Team.
Yeah, buddy.
Hey, there you are.
What's up?
The huge set up 6 showings for tomorrow, and then now I have to cancel 4 of them.
Oh, no, what happened? Oh, because they're already sold.
A couple of them, yeah.
Oh, man.
Then other ones turned out to be in the wrong school district. So
This is one of your buyers you've been showing houses for a while, or?
no, this is actually first showing. This was a fearless seller who is selling before they are buying.
Oh, wow. And
Yeah, so we got
so,
rent back.
okay, gotcha. Okay. Hey, they just said, fuck it, let's just do it. I like that. I like that
Well, yeah,
style.
this is what you got to do these days.
Yeah,
You got to
yeah,
sell the home first, get the rent back, and then go hard and fast after the buy
yeah.
afterwards.
All right. So if you guys don't know Garrison and I have been role playing for over, oh man, has it been 2 years now? We met at Summit 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was definitely not 2020 Summit, that's for sure.
It was 2019. Oh my gosh, I just realized that's crazy. Anyway, so Garrison and I role play twice a week, Monday and Fridays for half an hour. He is a realtor down in the South Bay, and he's having his best year ever, which is awesome. So anyway, I wanted to bring you on because I wanted to talk about what's working for you. Why has your business all of a sudden just like exploded this year? What's the main reason why?
Oh, sorry, I just saw Ellen's message down here. Small world, her brother is my assistant.
Wait, what? Ellen? Oh, I
Yeah,
know. Oh,
yeah,
that's
she's in here.
hilarious.
Ramsey's here,
Oh,
by the
that's
way.
so.
Should I have him say hi real quick?
Yeah. Have him say hi.
You
That's
wanna,
crazy. Oh my God, that is crazy.
there we go.
Yeah, Ellen's been following me for a while. She's super sweet. She always, joins the lives and asks questions and whatnot. Ellen sells real estate up in NorCal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, Joey? Sorry, what was your question? I was reading that while you were
Yeah,
asking it.
yeah.
Let's
No,
start
yeah.
over.
No. No worries, no worries. We have a lot of people on here too. My question was, last year you had a good year, but this year just like you just exploded. So like what's the main reason why your business has gone from A to Z in 1 year or in a couple months?
One general item I would say was continuing to last year I invested heavily in assistants, and continuing to market and do all of that throughout 2020, even when we couldn't go out and show homes for certain periods of time and everything. I feel like part of it is seeing the payoff from last year's investment paying off this year.
Hmm.
And the other part is marketing more towards listings. I
Hmm.
started marketing way more towards listings last year, and I've had a good amount of them this year. And I've also kept strong with the social media presence, which I believe
Hmm.
has led to more referrals than usual this year as well, because folks are better informed with what I'm doing on a daily and weekly and monthly basis. So when they think
Hmm.
real estate, they think of me a little bit more. So I think those 3 things all put together have really worked out. And then some of my sellers have had to buy. So like what we're doing right now
Which is
with
awesome.
my
Yeah.
current listing. Yeah. So um, all everything kind of put together, but I'd say marketing and hiring help and then staying consistent with that has been the biggest help.
Yeah. So last year you had an assistant and then that lasted what, 4 or 5 months, and then you hired your new assistant, Ramsey, who's
Mhm.
been great. And what does he do for you on a day-to-day basis that lets you do other things? Like how do you guys kind of set up your business?
Well, he runs most of my social.
Okay.
So I'll feed him photos and videos of stuff I do when I'm out and about, and then he'll choose when and where to post them. He keeps, on top of a posting schedule each week for me for that. He runs my emails on non-important issues, like not discussions with clients or discussions with other agents. But when I get those emails, hey, can we get this document or can we get that? He just gets right on and does it. So I don't have to answer those. I might see him come in on my phone, but I'll just go ahead and I just know they're done.
Mm-hmm.
He runs my call list for my calls.
Mm-hmm.
Goes ahead and goes in there and prints those out in the morning for me. What else does Reggie do on a daily basis? Anything and everything.
Yes. Yes.
Schedule
Exactly.
showings. Yeah, I wasn't the
Exactly.
one scheduling all 6 of those showings today. That was
Yes.
him.
Yeah, and it
So
takes time, and that's like an hour. If you're scheduling 6 appointments, maybe half an hour, but still half an hour that you have to do, prospecting, right? Money making activities.
correct. Yeah, and anytime I want to do a project like building up my website, creating posts, putting things on YouTube. Anytime I want to, what's our projects this week? We're learning YouTube ads now, so he's learning YouTube ads
Nice.
for me a little bit, and then teaching
Yeah.
me what he's learning. So all of that extra stuff that just takes time.
Hmm.
He's able to do that and really help out.
That's awesome. So we have somebody asking a question. What was the marketing approach you took to get more business? Like what, like give us like your day to day, like mailers, what are you doing?
Well, last year, thanks for the question. I believe it was
Carl,
Carl. Um,
Valmir.
Last year, I found a lot of success doing Facebook ads.
Hmm.
I was marketing. I was doing what was called my main Facebook ad for sellers was 5 worst mistakes homeowners make when selling. And so I would run that ad on Facebook, just a nice photo of a sexy house with don't make these mistakes or something on it. And it would click them through to a page on my website, and Facebook captured their info. And then when they got to my site, they would get a video of me going through basically a PowerPoint presentation, sharing my screen on the computer, being like, don't make these mistakes. Mistake number one, this, introduce myself. Here's the video. Here's all the mistakes. And then after that, I'd follow up with them. Hey, are you thinking about selling? When are you thinking about selling? If you are, were you just kind of looking to be curious, and then just starting that relationship, put them on my CRM, which I've moved to a much more robust CRM, which really helps with the follow-up as well with those. But lots of calls,
Talk
lots of emails
talk about
afterwards.
your new CRM because you just upgraded a Sierra, which I'm going to upgrade to in a couple months. Actually, next month when my Salesforce property base expires. So tell us more about that because I know that you've had a lot of success. It was not cheap. It's an expensive CRM,
Yeah,
but it does a lot. It's like
it
an
does.
assistant. It's almost like an inside sales agent, right? It's like an ISA.
It's really, yeah, it's really cool. It almost is. The main thing that it does is, I mean, besides it does the general stuff of keeping your contacts organized, and then you can put tags on them and do all that stuff that you can do with most CRMs. But the main extra sauce that it has, I guess, is it's really good at sending text messages and emails to both old leads and new leads just to start the conversation. Kind of like no harm, no foul. I was like, hey, were you just looking on my site? Are you curious about properties? You're actually looking to buy something? Like little texts like that, little things like just get the conversation started. And then when they respond back, it automatically takes them off the plan, which is really nice because then it's on me to kind of continue the thing. I'm not sending the same message over and
Yeah.
over again. They have a system in place where you move them from different statuses at different times, and then based upon who they are, when the last time you spoke, what information you've gathered, what tags you have put on them, it'll put them on different call lists as well for you. So all of that stuff is really cool. And at the same time, in addition to the CRM, there's a company that works with them, the same company. I just got my showing is canceled update. Thank you, Ramsey.
How many
So,
how many offers did they get? Did it tell you?
oh my gosh, they didn't tell me. They didn't tell me. It was just through email. So what was the thing? Oh, they also will take they took a little bit of the marketing platform off of my shoulders. They provide leads in this CRM, which is really cool. So they market on Google, and I have a budget that I tell them, this is my marketing budget for this month for Google, and this is my marketing budget for Facebook. So they'll repurpose all of my Facebook posts or certain real estate focused posts and retarget them to folks that have come to my page or folks that have liked my stuff or anything like that on Facebook, folks that have their email in my system all throughout through the CRM. So to retarget them, trying to get them back to my site. And then also it runs Google ads for leads. And I get, I don't know what the number is, but I might get like 30 leads a month from them,
Really?
maybe more than that. Buyer leads. Yeah. I mean, most are, they're like leads. Most aren't looking to buy or something like that.
They're like any other online lead, right? It's like they're like top of the funnel, and it's
correct.
Like maybe a couple are like bottom of the funnel.
Yeah, online is top of the funnel, but you got to weed through those, make the calls, and then figure out who's bottom. And we've had a couple that have turned out to be bottom or close to it that we're working rather seriously.
Yeah.
The name of the CRM it's Sierra CRM, Sierra Systems, SIERRA, for Charlie. Thanks for the question, Charlie.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so what other systems do you use besides that? Is that like your go-to for everything, or do you have other systems?
Well, that's the main system, and then GGMS is the company that I use along with them, that they do the advertising and they do the auto responding and stuff within Sierra. Those two companies work really well together, but that's more, right? It's a certain amount for Sierra and a certain amount for everything else.
How about BombBomb? Are you doing BombBomb still?
All the time. Yeah, BombBomb's great, and I especially do it for excuse me, my Vegas throat is still affecting me.
Well, happy birthday, bro.
Oh, thank you.
Garrison just turned 25.
25 beautiful years. It's a good life.
Sorry, I think Ramsey turned 25. I think you're like 35.
He's closer than I am. Yeah, he's closer to 25. The BombBomb I use a lot. That's really helpful. I feel like that's a really good way to touch people without being too pushy. I send BombBomb or video text message. Anytime I meet somebody, I go to my car and I'm like, hey, thanks for meeting you on video text, either through BombBomb or just through video text. I have like 2 of my listings that I got off of the Facebook ads. When I first spoke to them, they weren't really looking to sell or whatever. It's like, hey, well, let me take a look. Let me send you a CMA. But instead of sending them just a CMA and photo, I screen shared on a BombBomb video and walks them through the comps. So it's 10 minutes of me talking about why their property is different or the same as these and where I would put their value at, blah, blah, blah. And 10 minutes of listening to me talk, I guess, was, created enough of a connection for them to call me when they were ready to list. So
I think that's one of the best features of BombBomb, where you can share the screen, and then you have you're like a little circle, and they can see you doing all the work. It's like being at the house, and especially during COVID. And I know that right now it's a little bit easier to go meet with clients in person. But before that, I feel like BombBomb was such a great tool, even more than it is right now, because people didn't want other people inside their house. So you can actually do a whole presentation without even them being there. So they can see it whenever they want. They can repeat it. And the cool thing about BombBomb is that it'll tell you when they've watched it, how much they've watched it, how many times they've watched it. So you can give them a call like 20 minutes after, like, hey, I just wanted to ask you if you saw my CRM or sorry, the CMA. So I think that's an amazing tool. What other tools are you using besides BombBomb? Oh, hold on. We got a couple questions.
And thanks, Ali. BombBomb is a system that basically will put a video that you can record straight when you're in an email directly into your email. And it actually will preview the first like 3 seconds of it. So it's really easy to just like click and watch email rather than just having like a stupid little link there that nobody ever clicks because they're scared of clicking links. So that's kind of what it is. It's a system for that. And it works really well with Gmail and a lot of other mail services.
Yeah, they have like a Gmail plugin, and it works great. You hit the button, pops up the video, hit record it really quickly, and just send it, which is awesome. I love that. So what else? What else can we talk about real estate wise? You don't call expireds because you don't have to. So what are your new prospects besides online leads? Are they all online leads? Like who are you calling every single day?
Excuse me. I've had good experiences with calling around my listings as well, circle prospecting around listings, and just putting those folks into my system and then following up. Obviously, I would love to have that one call where it's like, hey, I called you at the right time, and yes, you want me to come over and list your property. That would be amazing. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen, but hey, you get some information. Put them in the system.
That happens like once a year, maybe once a year, right? Like
for you,
perfect timing. Well, I mean, come on. Let's be honest. It happens to you too. Come on. But tell people you don't only call the homeowners around your listings, but you also door knock. So tell us about that a little bit.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. And I was, well, I will never admit, I guess, to doing that last year, but around one of my listings, I'll go and I'll create like a flyer of a coming soon, and 2 or 3 days before it, I'll knock on homeowners' doors. Like, hey, just want to let you know before everybody else that your neighbor is selling their property. We just put the sign up, or maybe we didn't, but your neighbor right down here is selling their property, and I thought you'd want to know first. I have a flyer for you. Would you like one? And I especially added the "would you like one" because, some folks don't want you to hand them stuff nowadays.
Yeah.
And usually they say, yeah, sure. And then when they do, then it's like, okay, cool. Hey, 65% of people that buy in an area already know somebody in that neighborhood. So, do you know anybody who wants to be your neighbor? Usually they don't hear most of that question. And they're like, what? And then I'm like, well, you know what? Hey, we're having an open house 12 to 1 on Saturday right before. Well, now it is 12 to 1 on Saturday right before the regular open house. Love to see you there. It's a neighbors only open house. Also, for the right price, would you consider selling your home? Usually I get a laugh or something like that. But if the conversation goes for a couple more minutes, then I try to get contact information, or I drop off like a Ferrero Rocher in the next couple days or something. That's really helped.
That's been working for you, right? So that's on your second visit.
Yeah, or if I have a good phone call with somebody and they just they don't really want me to come over, but they're not against it, but they do kind of want a CMA, I'll tell them to send them the CMA, but then I'll print it out and I'll take it to their door, and I'll have chocolates with me, and the chocolates are all the difference, because hide the CMA and be like, yeah, hey, it's nice to see you. I come bearing gifts. And then the minute they see the chocolates, they lighten up, and then you're like, okay. And then also I brought you this. This is what you wanted. And then you can talk about that stuff. So that's really helped. Just those little 3 packs of Ferrero Rochers.
For sure.
Helps lighten the mood a little bit.
So tell us about so we have a lot of agents watching from, across the United States. What are your 3 to 5 tips as a listing agent on a hot market to drive the price up, to get the deal done for your client? And then I'll ask you the same question as a buyer's agent.
Shoot, trust your pricing strategy. I know I really trust mine right now, and my pricing strategy is to go in low, but I've had to fight for that with a couple of listings, and it's always best to try to explain everything, because sometimes I've explained one to one seller, and then the husband or the wife gets it third hand, and they're like, what? Then, try to explain it well, but in general, trust yourself, trust this price strategy. Right now I price low.
What does that call to your, or that visit with your clients about pricing? What does that sound like? Let's do a role play.
Okay. So you're asking me what we should price the home at? Yeah. Okay. Well, as we've talked, these comps look like this, and with my marketing, I think you're probably going to sell around 700,000. But in this market, you can't really underprice, but you can overprice. And for this particular house, you've got 1 bedroom or 3 bedrooms or 1.5 baths or something. But the best thing to do would be to get the butts in the seats, get all the people into the home. You want to get as many people into the home as possible, because then you'll get as many offers as possible and drive the price up. So it's my job to get the butts in this. People can't fall in love with your house if they never see it. And most folks start their home search online. So they're going to be judging your home off of these photos. Well, we're going to take fantastic photos, and they're going to see this price, and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, we got to go see this property. And on top of that, you'll get people from other different price ranges. Like if a person is looking in your neighborhood for a 4-bedroom, but they're planning to spend $50,000 or $60,000 more for that next extra bedroom. Now they see yours, which is going to sell, $50,000 less, but now it's priced $80,000 less. They'd be like, well,
Mm-hmm.
maybe for that price, I might consider getting a 3-bedroom. And then they come in. And by the way, there's some of your highest priced buyers because they've already been looking in that next price range. So you're really attracting the best of all worlds there. And you can do it in this market because we know there's no listings and there's so much demand. 2 years ago, I wouldn't have said this strategy, but right now, this is the way to go. Do you understand? Does that sound good to you? Yeah, it sounds good.
Well, wait, hold on. I'm the seller.
Oh, I
I'm
want
the
that
seller here.
Go ahead.
So what do you say if they're like, well, we want, you're saying 700,000, we want 850. Is that a possibility with your pricing strategy? Or should we price it at 899 and try to get that 850, leave some room for negotiation?
Well, I'll tell you what. The comps say that your property should sell around 700. So getting 850 for it might be a little too much to expect for. But I've been wrong before. I've been wrong in this market. I thought I was going to sell a property earlier this year at 740. I sold it at 860. So things happen, but we used the low pricing strategy on that one. I thought I was going to sell at 740. We listed at 709 and it got bid all the way up to 860. You can still get there that way because we can really drive the price up. But you can overprice. What you do is you limit your market if you start so high. If you're going to start at that 799 trying to get 850, but people are looking at comps and the comps show your property should sell around 700, they're not going to come see it. They're looking at all the other properties down the street. They just looked at 3 that sold at 720, and now you're asking 799. They're not even going to come see it. And how can multiple people fall in love with your house if they're not even going to walk inside the door?
That's a great explanation. That's great. I mean, it's so true, right? It's like you, in order to create urgency and to create a buzz and for people to fall in love with the house, you got to get them excited. The only way to get them excited is to kind of tease them with this price, right? Yeah. I mean, it's just,
terrible
it's
thing.
just, it's like, I mean, it's like any other product out there, right? It's like, it's like, they like price cut or, it's $5.99 or whatever it is, right? Okay. So that's your strategy for listings on pricing. How about your strategy as a buyer's agent? Because I think there's probably more buyer's agents than there are listing agents. And right now, being a buyer's agent is very frustrating because we're submitting multiple offers for weeks or months or even years, and we get nothing, right? And I feel like a lot of buyer's agents, they're just not hungry enough, or they just don't understand. Like when I have a buyer that's looking for a property, I am telling them straight up, like, if you listen to me, we'll have a good chance of getting the property. But if you don't, you're going to be looking for 6 to 12 months, right? And the prices are just going to go up, right? So maybe pay a little bit more right now, but like in 6 months from now, you're going to be right at where the market's at. So what are your top 3 to 5 strategies as repping a buyer in this market?
It's a great question, and I completely agree with everything you said. You got to be upfront and honest with everybody, and it comes with knowing the market.
Yeah.
Thanks, Allie. So first, I always, unless there's a certain specific situation, I do a buyer's consultation before we start to go look at properties. And I start there by telling them all about the market, making sure they know what they're getting into, because like I tell them there, look, any price you see, PS, what we just talked about, any price you see, just add 50K to it. Just right off the bat, just know if you're looking to spend 800,000, don't look at 799 list price, look at 749 list price or 739 or something like that. So you got to know that, you got to understand that, you got to believe that, and some do right away and others don't. So first you got to set it up. 2, know the market, obviously, so you got to know what things are selling at. I had a listing with 39 offers that went 150 over asking, and 5 of those offers came in at list price. So it's like, what are those agents coaching their clients on?
Right.
They clearly don't understand where the market is. So know the market, and don't do that, by the way, because then you have no chance. Know where properties will end up. Comps are so far behind that you just got to add prices to it. Like if I see comps that show a property should sell at 650 that sold, a month ago, which means they agreed to 2 months ago, I know that this property is going to sell over that, maybe 670, maybe 700. And you can do all these numbers for the $1 million properties this year, the 1.5 million. But I already know it's going to be in that area. And then get in touch with the agent. I mean, I've had 26 offers, 39 offers on a couple of my listings this year.
No calls.
Well, I had a couple, but like out of 39, I had like 6.
I don't get that. Like, what are they thinking? They just email an offer and just like they're doing their client a disservice.
Yeah.
Like those agents should be fired. I'm sorry, they should be fired. Like, do your freaking job. Like, call that agent. Be a freaking bulldog. Get it. Like, call them. Go visit them at their office. Take them out to lunch. Whatever it takes. I also tell my clients, I'm like, this is the name of the seller. Go on LinkedIn. Message them, like, do whatever it takes. Like,
interesting.
I've actually I sold a property a few years ago in Santa Monica, and my client actually knew the seller, and so I was like, I can't contact the seller because there's an agent involved, right? The other agent. But if you do it, like, just don't tell me. Just go ahead and call him, right? And they were friends.
I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't know what you're doing. He ended up getting the property. And, I don't know if they did anything, like that I should have known. I mean, whatever. He got the property. That's all that matters, right? So it's like if you're a buyer's agent, you got to be like super aggressive, because when I'm a listing agent and there's an agent that is super aggressive that's calling me every single day, hey, Paul, I want to find out what's going on. Like, we're going to get this closed. I worked with this buyer several times. I would have their lender call the listing agent and assure them that this is a good deal, a clean deal. I'll actually have that lender like do a full approval on the loan. That way you can just remove that loan contingency. And if you feel confident about the appraisal contingency, remove that too, right? They still have an out with the inspection contingency, right? But as a listing agent, if the loan and the appraisal contingencies are off the offer, I feel more confident, So what other tips?
Agree. We all want to do business with folks that we are comfortable with and we like, but also I tell my clients in that first meeting that your offer is not your only package you're displaying. I am a part of the package you're displaying, and I need to prove myself to the other agent, if I don't already know them, that I'm competent and I know what I'm doing and I can do it well, because that makes them very comfortable in working with me versus somebody that just doesn't talk to them and sends them an offer.
Yeah.
Also, the lender's a part of the offer as well. So if you can get the lender, a competent lender, to call them and talk about how awesome everything is, all of that helps. That's all part of the strategy in putting a successful offer together. And then there's the little sweeteners, a fun little sweetener story I had. I got an offer accepted. She didn't take me up on it, but I offered the other agent. She said she had 2 listings and she was overworked and she couldn't handle everything at the same time. I offered her to take my assistant for a day. I'll just give you my assistant for a day and he'll take care of all that stuff for you. Yeah, she didn't take me up on it, but she liked that offer and we got our offer accepted, but that's like smart. It's little things like that.
And that's a good point, because I was in a multiple offer like 2 months ago. They had like 5 or 6 offers, and the agent was acting kind of weird in the beginning. She wasn't like really opening up, and like I always want them to kind of open up and like have a conversation, and we'll talk about kids and sports and other shit, because like I want them to be a friend, right? So I can tell that she was kind of new to the business. So I said, hey, like, do you have a multiple offer summary worksheet for your client? She's like, no. She's like, what is that? I was like, I use this spreadsheet, and it has all the important terms, and I put all the offers on it, and so I can show that to my client, and then they can see this all on one page, and instead of flipping through 100 pages of offers and getting all confused. So I emailed that to her as an Excel sheet, right? And she actually accepted my offer, and it was literally $30,000 less than the highest offer because of that, because she felt confident with my buyer. My buyer ended up canceling on that deal, which was which is really annoying. But anyway, I mean, like
welcome
to
real estate.
Yeah, but like you said, I mean, there's like these small things you can do to really set yourself apart from the other agents. Sorry, we got a couple of questions. Cess PC, he's actually from Mexico. Is it possible to sell a property totally from the web?
Yes, it's possible, but it's not exciting, I guess, or it's not going to get you the highest price if you're a seller. And we can sell anything sight unseen to investors cash all day, but they're not going to give you the highest value. And then there's so much stuff that needs to happen during the process that just can't happen on the web. You would kind of need to go the investor route. And even they would still want to at least walk through the property once. So not in these price ranges really too.
They actually happen in these price ranges in secondary markets. I mean, we're both Tom Ferry coaching members. And so we hear other, like I've heard interviews that like Tom Ferry has on his podcast with other agents that do secondary markets, and they've told us like even before COVID, a lot of people will buy property sight unseen, which is crazy. It's crazy. Like
submit the offer and get accepted sight unseen, but not fly out to walk through it.
Yeah, that's
sure.
weird.
I've had people from New York buy properties through me, but as soon as we get the offer accepted, they fly out and they walk through it. So it's not an all web sale. They're officially walking through it to investigate the property. Yeah. So like I read that as, all web, like they never see the property. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if that happens.
No. But these other agents are saying that it does happen where they don't even actually see the property.
Wow.
Which is strange. Like I'm not spending.
Come to think of it, I have heard that in Hawaii, like mainlanders buying Hawaii properties. That does make sense.
Yeah. All right. So Joe Kotosh from Chicago. He's also one of my role play partners, and
hi, Joe.
Also being coached by Jeff Mays. So his question is: the market changing for you?
Not since this year.
It's been solid all year.
It's been solid all year, and it's continuing to be that. We still don't have any inventory, and we still have tons of buyer demand. I was in two scenarios of offers last week that both had over 10 offers. So, I mean, maybe you can say it comes down from like 13 to 10 or whatever. I don't. But there's no way to know what it would have been 2 months ago. Yeah.
Well, you've seen the Keeping Current Matters graph where that shows that the inventory is slowly creeping up, not by much. It was like at 1.9 months to like 2.2. So that's nominal. That's nominal. But I feel like our markets, depending on the price range, right? Because like here, like in my area, under $2 million is super hot. And then in the 3 to 4 million in certain areas is super hot. But then in that 5 range, it's very price sensitive and things take a little bit longer to sell, but they're still selling, like my 2 big listings that I told you I finally sold them and they're closing soon. Those took almost 6 months to sell. I know, so exciting. So exciting. But those took 5 to 6 months to sell. And I was looking at my calendar, they're both going to expire in August. So like I barely got those sold before they expired, which is nice.
Yeah, maybe you see that in the luxury price ranges. In here, that would be in this area, that would be kind of over 3 and 4 million. I generally deal in the 800,000 to $1.5 million is where most of my business is. And in every market that I deal in, that is generally the entry level for that market. So it's stuff still flying off the shelves there. I did have one, a $3 million sale this year, and it did sit a little bit. So maybe you're seeing that there. But in terms of being different now versus later, I mean, you had that from the start of the year and everything was bonkers everywhere at the start of the year. So I don't know if anything changed with those versus just being in a luxury market.
Yeah, I think right now, expired listings, like, cause I anybody who's watching me before, I do a lot of expired and canceled listings. Those right now, if a house is expiring or canceling in this market, there's something wrong. I mean, most of the time it's not the agent. It's probably, it's the agent because they haven't convinced their client to lower the price. But for the most part, like if you look at the marketing, it looks pretty decent, like good photos, good description. But it's the price or the floor plan or something funky with the house. Right. So that's what I've been finding out too, is that like it's not only price sensitive, but if you have a house that is, say 8,000 square feet and there's several comps, 8,000 square feet, but the house has like a funky floor plan, or it's 3 stories, or there's something funky about the house that makes it hard for a really high-end buyer in that $5 million price range to be like, all right, it's the same as this other comps, so I'll pay the same. No. They want a discount for having a house that is a little bit funky, right? So again, it's just a price-sensitive market. Joe says,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Joe says there's so few expires, otherwise price is way off. Yeah,
Yeah.
agree, Joe.
But you still do really well on the expired. So I mean, good for you. Even though there's so few, you're still kicking butt on them.
Yeah.
I saw that KCM graph, by the way, about inventory is creeping up,
Mhm.
and it's like if we're still under three, we've been under three
Yeah.
since 2015.
Yeah.
Like it needs to be 4 to 6 months, I believe, to be
neutral,
a normal market,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
over 6 to be a seller's market. We're still sitting under three. I'm like, I don't care where it goes. If once it passes three, that'll be like the first time since 2015, and I'll be like, oh, maybe,
Yeah,
like maybe
yeah,
something's happening. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's good. I think it's good for it to go up a little bit. I think this market it's really crazy. We need more inventory. We need to open up some more inventory.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
feel, and I'm a little bit worried about the new Biden tax plan, because I was talking to a seller earlier today. I was door knocking in Venice, and the guy has lived there since 1950s. He bought it for $40,000. It's worth $1.8 million now. And so I was there on my phone with the calculator. I said, all right, are you married? So $500,000 exemption. How much have you invested in the house, or through upgrades? 100 grand. Okay, 600 grand. You bought it for 40 grand. So I did the calculation. He's going to pay 400 grand in capital gains on the house. That's insane amount of money. That's not including Biden's new tax plan, which adds another 20% to that. So he's probably going to be paying close to 550, 600 grand with this new Biden tax plan. So I was like, you should really look into this with your CPA, because if you have to sell in the next 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years, you should think about selling now, because you'll save 20% off the top. That's a lot of money. That's a ton of money,
Yeah.
And then you can either buy another house or go rent something. But at least, right now we're really high at we're at the top of the market. Who knows how much higher we're gonna go? I hope that it still continues to go up, but at a slower pace, because it's like it's gonna drive everybody out, right?
It'd be nice if the pace would slow down. Yeah. It would be.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Okay, so there's a lot of new
I think
agents
we
here.
get more sellers, to be honest, if the pace slowed down. Part of the reason people aren't selling is because they're worried about what they can get.
Yeah.
And if we could take that worry away, where we have just a normal market where there's enough inventory to go around, then we'd get more sellers.
That's a good point.
Folks would move.
That's a good point. Yeah, because a lot of the conversation I have with sellers are, I would love to sell, but where am I going to go? And so then we start talking about it, but it's really hard to get them out of that. Like, all right, well, there's plenty of places to go, and and we can find you a house. We have ways to find you houses. We can go door knock, we can cold call, we can send letters. Letters are working great. I'm not sure if you've already gotten some responses from your letters or not.
They went out last week, which means they're in the mail, which means they're probably delivering like today or tomorrow.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But I can't wait for those to go up. But yeah, I've had 2 off-market sales this year that we've been able to get off-market. So that happens. And we can find off-market properties for our clients.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I know we've been on for 40 minutes, so hopefully you have like 5 more minutes. What are your top 3 or 5 things that a new agent should do? Because I always get this question, right? There's a lot of new agents following me, and
I'm coaching Ramsey as we speak too.
Yeah, which is great. So what do you recommend for a new agent?
Excuse me. One, I'd recommend doing what Ramsey's doing. Find a experienced agent who is a good person in addition to a good agent, and that's me calling myself a good person, by the way. But
you are
is willing to hire you to do stuff, but also take the time to teach you everything as well, because there's so much that you need to learn, so much that I haven't even realized, like knowledge that I have that I would never think I had, but I'm explaining so much on a daily basis about what to do here, where the market's going here, why this, why that, just how we do everything. You never think about how much you do until you're actually teaching somebody. So I'd say when you go into a big office and you don't necessarily have a mentor, that's a big deal. So try to get a mentor in that case. So find an agent such as myself or such as you, who's willing to kind of show you the ropes while you're working there. I'd say that's step 1, because that's a great way to learn.
Or a coach.
Or a coach.
If you have the money.
Yeah, but I'd like day-to-day coaching,
Yeah.
like it's hard to be like, okay, well, you need to go out and
Transactional
get those leads.
stuff.
I'll see you next week.
Yeah. You're right.
You
You're
know?
right. Because there's a lot more than just like the prospecting and strategy of getting new leads, which is what like the coaches help you out with. But they don't
Yeah.
tell you about negotiating, about multiple offers, about
Correct.
how to write a contract, and all that stuff. There's a
Correct.
lot more that goes into it.
Why are we asking for this now and waiting to do this then versus doing that? Like seeing 3 or 4 moves down the chessboard,
Yeah.
like only experience gets you that.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
or working next to somebody who will explain all of that to you.
Oh, your wifey's on here.
My wife came on. Hi, honey. All right, now it's time to get off.
Yeah.
That would be number 1. Number 2, it's great now. Open houses are always the best.
Agreed. Great source. Easy too. Easy. People are coming to you. They want to get information from you. And if you know of any off-market properties in the area, you can say, hey, before you do the open house, door knock, cold call the area.
That's actually my number 1 open house trick is calling the agents, especially in the area that tend to have a lot of listings, and seeing what you can find out that they have coming up. Because if you can get 1 or 2 pocket listings in your back pocket, just that you know about, even though they're not yours, being able to explain that to somebody when they come into your open house, being like, look, but I got this place coming down the street. I know of this listing, it's coming in a couple of weeks. You may like that place. Yeah. Let me text you the address, go drive by. And then they drive by, they're like, hey, I like it. You're like, okay, well, when it comes out, let's go see it. And then all of a sudden you've got this relationship with this person and of properties that are on the market. So, doing all of that extra stuff around the open house, not just putting up your sign and sitting there and then leaving.
Exactly.
And then obviously following up with everybody.
Yeah, for sure. And only talking to one person at a time and keeping eye contact. That's what Tom always talks about.
Which is so hard to do.
It is hard to do.
So
I agree. It's like you see people back here like waiting for you and you're trying to have a conversation and they're waiting and waiting.
Or they don't sign in. You're like, sign in.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. All right. What else? What other tips?
What for new agents? Learn open houses is a good way to start. What else can I say for new agents?
I always tell them prospect. Like you need to prospect every single day. Like that's what you do. That's what I do, right? Like it doesn't matter if you got so many deals or like whatever you're doing. Like you got to set 2 hours of your day on your calendar and prospect, whatever that is. Social media, calling, open house, right? Because you can do open houses any day now. I mean, you don't have to do them on the weekends. You can be on a Monday, Tuesday. It's not it probably won't be as busy, but you can still do them. I mean, there's so many different ways to prospect, but having a set number of conversations, right? Like at least set a goal, 5 conversations per day or 10 per day,
Absolutely. And you're so right. And that's actually so important to start in the beginning because you can build up that foundation of good habits in the beginning. I got into that late. It was really hard for me to start and be consistent with that.
It's not easy,
Yeah. So if you start in the beginning and you just basically get indoctrinated into real estate by like making 2 hours of phone calls every day, oh man, let time work for you there. You will be a great agent in a couple of years.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, if you start early on, like I never did that for like embarrassingly like 13 years in my career, which is kind of weird. I don't know how I did it, but anyway. All right, buddy. I think that's enough time. 45 minutes. I appreciate you coming on as always. Looking forward to our first role play in a month and a half since I got sick. So thanks for being patient with me. But dude, I love that you're killing it this year. I mean, seriously, like you're like to see the change from last year to this year, dude, it's been awesome. And I'm just so happy for you that it's like just opening up the floodgates, So, and happy that you're mentoring Ramsey. That's awesome, man. It always feels good to give back, So that's awesome. Any last words?
No, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the kind words. Let's keep it going.
For sure, man. Yeah, for sure. All right, buddy. I'll see you on tomorrow.
All right. See you tomorrow.
See you, buddy.